Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do a power on test. GummyROM. Now, why do you want to use GummyROM? Well, it's a lightweight but very functional AOSP based ROM. Note that while it is AOSP based, they did use CyanogenMod for the device hardware repositories. That made it possible for them to port this over to this device. And it's brought to you by Poppy. Let's see here. Get ready to stop this. By Poppy91. So there you have it. It's 27 seconds. Alright. So, anyways, as I was saying, there are a few features here that make it not necessarily unique, but a unique combination per se. I didn't see any standout features that aren't available on other ROMs, but it's the combination that's nice, and it's the stability. This is based on KitKat sources because you'd have to have the KitKat modem for it to get proper rotation. So that was nice because I already had that loaded, did not have to go back to the Jelly Bean TZ or RPM or the Jelly Bean modem to get it to work. As you can see here, it's very fluid, it's very fast, 1.1 gigs of RAM there on the first boot. Google Now. I am using the Google Now launcher. Some of the features that this offers, let's go ahead and just dive right into them. We'll go into settings here. And you go to Gummy Interface. This is where most of your customizations are located. We'll start here at the top, status bar, notification drawer. You got your status bar, clock, battery icon, battery bar, signal type, breathing SMS, breathing SMS, breathing missed call, breathing SMS, breathing voicemail, show notification count, and brightness control. You can adjust the brightness by sliding across the status bar. I did not enable that because I am using, as you can see here, I'm using the expanded desktop, so that really wouldn't do me any good. Notification drawer, you got your carrier label here, clock click actions here. These are kind of nice to have so that you can assign what happens when you click them. Pretty self-explanatory, right? And style, it's nice because you can do the custom image. As you can see here, I have this nice red wallpaper behind it with this red theme. You can set the transparency. I am a fan of that feature. And here's your quick settings. You can rearrange them this way. I'm not a fan of how this is laid out. It's not the most intuitive, but it works. I've seen better methods of utilization for customizing the toggles on the quick settings, but this, again, is functional. Toggle style, collapsible shade on click, vibrate on click, do that. Toggles per row, enable fast toggle. Alright. Screenshot delay, and custom toggle down here at the bottom options. Next, we've got your advanced Gummy options. Navigation bar, if you can see down here at the bottom, I have customized my navigation bar. You can change the height, change the buttons, you can change the ring targets, etc. Pi is here. This is the Pi that you're thinking of, not the paranoid Android version of Pi. So it is the full feature Pi with the 2 rows, and they do work. Power menu options, screen security. Now, one thing about expanded desktop is I had to go in here and actually add this in here so that I could get to my expanded desktop because I could not find a way to add it to the quick tiles. So just keep that in mind if you want to use expanded desktop. Screen security, enable translucent decor, advanced system options, device options. Okay, so you don't really get a lot there. Blacklist, performance. Okay. It's just what you think it is. It's a kernel tweaker. Wake lock blocker. I'm using Greenify, but it's there. App ops. There. That's a nice feature. Double tap to sleep. Enable power load notifications. CRT off. CRT animations. And this is just like a quick access to the settings for these applications here. I know I did see here in the file manager you could change the theme on it if you wanted to separately, but really it just takes you right into the settings. So nothing It's just like a one quick location. I think it's kind of redundant, but is there. You are using the new theme engine here. I tested a few themes here. Okay. You can click About Gummy. It's nice. Everything else is pretty much your standard run-of-the-mill options. I did have some issues running different kernels, and I did have some issues running ART. When I say kernels, I did try running the Furnace kernel. However, when I updated the Nightly about an hour later, I quickly realized that something's changed, because all I would get every time I flashed the kernel after the 24th Nightly of this month, all I would get was System UI crash over and over and over again. Made it difficult to turn the phone off to get back into recovery. So then I could reflash, and I tried some trial and error, and it was the kernel. Every time I flashed that kernel, that's what would happen. I get System UI crash. Don't flash the kernel, flash the new Nightly. There you go. Keep in mind, this is Android 4.4.4. Okay? So it is the latest, aside from, of course, Android L, which was just announced. So here we are. We're going to run an Antutu benchmark for you. I do have some already loaded up to show you, but we're going to run one now. While that's running, let me talk to you about a few things. Netflix works. It does seem to get a little bit higher than normal battery drain. It just seems like it's draining faster than I have seen on other AOSP-based ROMs, and definitely faster than it is on stock. Temps do seem to be higher, but they do cool down fast. So they peg up there pretty high, and sometimes it happens when you're not really doing much on the phone, which is kind of surprising. No, I do have the brightness maxed out right now for the video. So, but when I was doing my testing, I had it left on auto. And the brightness adjustment works no problem. Tethering works. Scrolling, I had no issues with scrolling. It seems that scrolling is pretty fluid. The UI itself is pretty fluid. I didn't experience any redraws with the UI. Of course, I was using the Google Experience Launcher. ART gave me some problems. In fact, ART gave me so many problems that I had to go ahead and restore my baseband back up and start over again, because ART just didn't want to work very well with this ROM. I had apps that were crashing, and the only thing that I had changed was from Dalvik to ART. So I've stayed in Dalvik, but honestly, Dalvik's been fast enough. Double tap to sleep works fine, and you can configure, again, this navigation bar down at the bottom to be able to go directly to sleep. So that's nice to have. I did use the Google Experience camera with this ROM, so if you're looking to see how the pictures take with that camera and this ROM, it's the same as it does on any other AOSP-based ROM, in my experience anyways. The one thing I did notice is that there are no delays or issues with the camera opening and closing, as some other ROMs have reported with the camera. So the camera drivers are good. The quality of pictures is good. Did not have any issues with the Play Store. All my apps loaded up fine. Of course, that was before I changed the LCD density. Once I changed the LCD density, that's a different story, but that's just to be expected, and I didn't use Exposed, so I didn't use any App Store fixes. I already had my apps installed before I changed the DPI, and that worked just fine for me. A2DP was a little disappointing, and I will tell you why. It does stream just fine. It does share metadata just fine, but what it didn't do is it did not, even though it said it supported the map, it did not. There's your score, 31,184, pretty close to what you're supposed to get on the LG G2. So this is a very speedy ROM, and of course I was doing other things here, and the phone probably is already at a pretty warm temperature, so it's 55 degrees. Not bad at all, and you see it did get up there to the 2.2. Now, this is using simple kernel from Dr. 87. That's what it comes with, okay? So this is the simple kernel. The changes that you've come to expect from simple kernel are all here. You only get two choices here for the governor. And a few choices here. Of course, I had this bumped up, but on this last reboot it got rid of my settings. Anyways, there you have it. That was a benchmark for you right there. I was talking about HTTP. It will not let the phone will not let the head unit handle text messages, and that's through My4 Touch. But metadata and audio streaming was no problem. Alright, so here we are with some battery drain tests here. I will tell you that I had to reboot the phone a couple times after my initial install to get accurate results because the phone would not sleep. It would not go into deep sleep on the first install. And after the first install, I did a couple reboots and it corrected the problem on its own. Not a big deal. Probably the ROM didn't get a good chance to set in yet. Once I did that, charged it up to max, which is what I did here, and took it off and started using it immediately. That's why you don't see a long period here at the beginning of sleep. So this is actually 13 hours and 12 minutes of use. Alright, 3 hours and 31 minutes of screen on time. I still have 35% left. And just so you can see here, I was really using this bad boy here towards the end. So I expected we could have easily squeaked out another hour and a half of battery life. Screen on time. These are my wake locks here. Here is a benchmark on Quadrant. Again, Quadrant seems to be having some problems with newer versions of these ROMs on the LG G2. It doesn't seem like it's reporting accurately, and this is just showing you that it is indeed set to 2.2 gigahertz. Here's another drain down test. We still have 35% left, 15 hours and 31 minutes off the charger. This is, of course, letting me see how it did overnight when it was in standby. And you had a couple wake locks here, but this stayed at 100% overnight, so that was pretty nice. These are the wake locks that I had. Clock did seem like it was giving me a hard time. This is just an example of a theme. What happens with some of these themes. Test them out. Do a bunch of things with them before you decide to set on one, because this is what happens on some of these themes. You can't read the text here. It just wasn't complete. So that's all that picture is showing you there. About the form, there are two places where you can find GummyROM posted. One is, at least that I have located it, one is in the AT&T G2 development. The other one is in the G2 development, not the original G2 development, which is, or G2, sorry, the original Android G2 development, which you would expect to find a ROM like this. It's in the wrong place, and it might be why a lot of people haven't found it yet. But this is an excellent ROM. I mean, smooth, fluid, no problems whatsoever. Kind of go through some of these with you real quick. On the AT&T form, it's only got 40 posts, and on the other form in the Android development, it's only 107. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to read or search through these. This is a very quick review because this is a very easy ROM to review. I did not have any issues, except for when I switched to ART and tried to change the kernel. If you leave the kernel alone, again, it's Dr. 87 simple kernel, so you really can't go wrong anyways. You don't have any issues. The ROM is fluid, it's daily driver material, and I had no problems. This is a Zooper widget here. I did configure it and change the colors. You can do that with Zooper to kind of match this red theme that I was going with here. Just something I was trying out and something I felt like doing because I am using, I'll go ahead and show you here, settings, themes. I am using this Better Cat red theme. So, and real quick for those that haven't tried changing any of these styles, there you go. See, it changes the icons up here. It changed my icons down there as well. Different elements have been changed, including the, see, this is all changed here. This is all changed there. So just kind of play around with them. Find one you like, keep it. If you found this review useful, please give me a thanks. If you have questions about this ROM, please ask them. I do, like I said, keep a baseband backup, which is a very simple backup of this ROM installed and functional with minimal apps. I can go back and test things for you that you want to see. Thank you.